Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 8th meeting of the Griffin City Commission. If you will stand, we'll have our invocation by Commissioner Holberg and our place to the flag by Commissioner Flowers.
Let's bow our heads, please. Father, we're here today to ask for your blessing and guidance in the performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions fair and just to the best interest of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings and keep us united as a team to work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Face the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight, under presentations and delegations, we will recognize Terry Davis and David Smith with the Public Works Wastewater Department for the September 2013 Strongest Link Award recipients. Dr. Brent Keller will address.
It's great to be able to make this award to employees of the city. Unfortunately, in this case, they did an outstanding job, but the employee still lost his life. These are the two gentlemen. Last month, we lost Mark Norris. He had a blood clot, and it went to his brain, and these are the first responders. Obviously, they were on the site. They immediately went into their first aid mode, and they tried to resuscitate him until emergency services got there, and John Hamilton and that group, and they were, I mean, I don't know how you say it. It's great to give it to them, and they are really good employees, but, you know, at the end of the day, they're getting it because they performed in an outstanding role to try to save somebody's life. And Terry is the superintendent, and David Smith works there also, and they do a great job. And it was really great to have and understand, because I was on the radio when this was all going on, and they didn't miss a beat. And unfortunately, that employee passed away. But they this evening just want to present them with the strongest link in the chain. This is David Smith, and this is Terry. Davis. He's the superintendent, and these are your strongest link in the chain this month for their performance, for doing their duty and helping somebody else in a pretty serious role. And we have a plaque for each one of them and a certificate, and they basically said they didn't want to say anything. They're operators and didn't want to give a dissertation. So at the end of the day, I guess I did all the speaking that needs to be done. But I'm glad they worked for us, and I'm glad they were able to have that skill set to try at least assist in that role. So there they are.
That's true. And Mark was a great guy.
And one of you got to split the change. So for 15 days, one of y'all get it, 15 days the other. Usually we don't give it to but one person, but in this case, there was so you get to wear it tonight, and you can share it. You can wear it on the way out if you want. They're going to want pictures. Come on up. We have to look professional.
At this time, we will recognize Marcus Schwab, who will come and review our financials for August 2013. Good evening, Marcus.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Let's see if I can get this thing to go horizontal on me. Okay. First item up will be the cash balance report. No significant changes there from the last month. We're 2 months into the fiscal year, and I see Mr. Morrow's just pondering away.
Well, I checked. Do we have cash? I like that.
Yes, sir. The cash is rich at the moment. Trust me, that will be gone here as soon as Dr. Keller gets hands on the projects. All right. Oh, you're quite welcome anytime. The next item up is the local option sales tax report. And obviously we have no collections coming in, and that's due to the decrease in the funding that's coming in for that's earmarked towards the capital, towards the bonds. So as those monies come in, they get funneled first towards settling the debt, and then when monies are left over, they get allocated proportionately to the municipalities, and that's obviously lagging. However, the local option sales tax is clicking away just fine.
How's our revenue on the motor vehicle side? Have you paid much attention to that?
Interesting that you bring that up, Mr. Holberg. We had, actually I read an article today out of the GMA News. They mentioned that there's revenue ruling out on the table at the Department of Revenue. They want to amend the fee downwards because the dollar amounts that are coming in to the cities seem to be a little bit higher than expected.
Well, that might be, but when you look at our loss, it's down both months this fiscal year since it took part, so we're losing it on lost.
Right.
But if we're gaining a little bit on the fee, that's a bad thing, huh? That's the state's bad thing.
That's the state's bad thing, yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, the school board is the one that could potentially lose out on something like that.
It's both. I mean, that's exactly what I was looking at, is that trade-off. You look for the trade-off, is the motor vehicle going to take the place of the potential decrease in loss for us? Because, it does both flow into general operations. So, and they have that flexibility to adjust that percentage, and that, they talked about caps for us. If we start getting too close to a cap, they'll just adjust their percentage so that we stay below a cap on the actual growth. So it's dangerous.
Have we received any money from the motor vehicle?
Yes, we have considerable amount.
Good.
Yes.
Right, yeah, it does look good.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they adjust it downward, will it be, it will be what they pay out to us?
Yes.
It won't be the true division like it's supposed to be?
Instead of that 6.5%, the proposed rate is 4%.
And will they refund what they've overcharged the consumer?
It's all proposed. Actually, I have that slated for next month as one of our topics for discussion. As I get more information from the ruling, that'll be presented.
Right, well, they won't do anything to January anyway. Actually, they won't do anything until April, if you want to know the truth.
Correct.
I mean, if they follow their usual procedure, the Georgia legislature. All right, is there any other?
Okay. If I may, we do have the revenue detail this time around. If anyone has any question about specific line items.
Mine didn't come up.
Okay. And last up is the interim report by fund. Any questions there from the city as a whole?
On the electrical department details, there's
Yes,
one, looks like they've misappropriated some of the funds in a different line item. And I was looking at it when a download just happened. So it was on page 34.
Okay, and that's on the revenue detail, sir?
I thought we only had 27 pages.
On the previous report.
Oh, okay.
On the revenue detail.
The revenue detail, there was on the electrical fund.
Okay.
One line is basically missing all funds, so it's been.
Let me see if I can find this. Hold on.
We can't control this.
You said page 32, sir?
34.
And that is being looked at. If those are the numbers that he's referencing, because I'm having a tough time trying to get there myself. Those are being looked at with electric, and we have some adjustments to make within the system so that the rate codes apply to the right bucket. And
I studied them earlier.
I'm trying to keep it simple, but it's a kind of complicated process downstairs because it affects some things, and we don't want to upset the whole apple cart just to make one minor change.
Well, this is in the same department. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
We've been hearing that because of the relatively cool summer, electricity sales are down and all the rain water sales are down. But when you look at those revenues, we're 1/6 the year, 1/6 the way through the year, and we're above the 1/6 mark. But I guess it's a period thing, is it?
That is
Summer versus summer, which we can't tell from ours. Any estimate yet what it's adding up to, that drop?
Is it tracking better than the same point in the prior year?
Yeah.
Is it tracking better by August 31st than the same point of the prior year?
I need to look at that. I've not looked at that just yet. We have preliminary financials, the audit. I've just looked at those this afternoon, just got them in my hot little hands and going through the numbers today, this afternoon. You know, the revenues for electric, as with water, are cyclical. There are spring and fall months where everything's flat and nobody's watering because we got enough rain, and nobody's using electricity because it's comfortable out. That's a cyclical environment. To look at August, yes, it might make more sense to look August to August and see how we fared. The best thing we can do is look at 12 months as of August 2012, 12 months as of August 2013. That will give us a better indication as to where we may be. The only complicated matter to that is the rate adjustment and volume. The best thing we can do is look at consumption.
So you're going to let us know if there's a budget amendment coming or issues?
It is on,
just looking at this.
It is on the horizon for us to look at, yes.
Checks in the mail.
Right, always.
Okay, so that's the revenue detail report. And then any questions on the interim statements by fund?
Yes, sir.
I thought, no, I won't say anything.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commissioners? All right, okay. Everyone seems happy, Marcus.
Thank you.
Continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I know, couldn't miss that. All right, at this time, we'll open the floor for citizen comments. Let's see. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda or a public hearing, or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city commission meetings. City commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or other staff for resolution. Having said that, is there anyone on my left who would like to come forward and make a citizen comment? You're on my left. This is my left. Will you come forward, please? State your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Board.
Good
members of
evening.
the Commission.
Good evening.
My name is Candace Daniel.
Candace.
Candace. Spell it K-A-N-D-R-I-C-S.
Gotcha. And the last name?
Daniel, D-A-N-I-E-L.
Got it, dear. Thank you. And your address?
1111 Brockley Street, Griffin, Georgia, 30224.
Thank you, dear. Okay.
Okay. Good evening. I'm coming before this board this evening because I've had some issues with the City of Griffin Police Department, and as of last Saturday or last Monday, I filed a complaint against 2 police officers for investigation. As of this day, after going back and forth down there, all the way up until Friday, I skipped Friday because the last I was told meeting with Darryl Diggs was that he wanted to talk to my son and his girlfriend about the situation. When the complaint was filed by me and my son. Although he told me my son is a grown man, I still am a mother, and I told him when I filed a complaint, we filed a complaint, I signed it and my son signed it because my son is not married to no one. If anything happened pertaining to our son, it is me and my husband's responsibility. As of Monday, I'm under the impression that we was going to have a meeting Monday morning. And when I called Mr. Diggs, after not having no more communication from my son, no more to tell me that we was going to have a meeting. After I talked to Darryl Diggs Monday morning on the phone, he told me that, in other words, I understand it like it was all finished. And I called, after I talked to Darryl Diggs, I turned around and went down to the police department to meet, have a meeting with Chief Strickland. Chief Strickland was in a meeting, so I was told. I told the secretary or whatever, receptionist, whatever you are, I called the girls up there in the front. I told them that I would wait, regardless of how long it took for him to come out of that meeting. Because I feel like Mr. Diggs has made his decision as to an investigation. I don't feel like he can do it how can I put it? I don't feel like that he could do a fair investigation as to my 3 or 4 meetings, might be 5 that I've had with him. He came and called me back again. And between the time that me and him talked, he finally called, I don't know the military ranks, but Homer Daniel Jr. into the meeting. Like I said, even with Mr. Daniel, I admit he had made me recognize that I had stated one thing to him that he didn't like, was that when Darryl Diggs told me my son had something to tell me and tell me he couldn't talk to me, my son communicates. I feel like Darryl Diggs had coerced threatened my son to not authorize his complaint. I went to the chief of police. Like I said, when I called the narcotics to put it on record that I want to report illegal house, having illegal activities, that was done through the narcotics. I called the city manager's office because when I called the numbers to the narcotic people, I could not get an answer. I went to a fax machine or email and boss mail. And as a taxpayer, I thought the hotlines were be open all the time.
All right, your complaint is that you've not heard back from the filing of the complaint. Is that correct?
No, that's the way you see it, but I see it from Darryl.
I'm just asking.
Okay, the way I see it, like I said, Darryl Diggs is actually telling me that my son said he wanted to squash it or let it go or he don't want to pursue it. And I have no rights to. Because my son is 34. Board members, this is not the first time I've complained about the police department. I've had several cases with them, dealing with my son.
Right. Ms. Daniel, what we can do is we can request a report on this, because I don't think any of us on this board are aware of.
Yes, ma'am. My city commissioner is aware.
Okay, well, if
you want to represent my zone. Can I finish first, or you give me a decision too?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. Like I told my city commissioner and the people that I have been corresponding with, if the city manager or Chief Strickland had contacted me today and said that Ms. Daniel, as of today, that investigation is still going on, I wouldn't be staying here. They didn't, and the way I feel that I've been unjustly treated, I believe that the GBI should be called in on this investigation. If you have a complaint that I filed, you will see why I'm asking for the GBI, because they have put one of these officers have put my whole family in jeopardy. My 3 sons were jumped because the officer went back and told the resident that I filed a complaint against them. That just the past Saturday. And I assumed that they had a permit to have it gathering over there on Edgewood. No one was arrested. like I said, these two officers took an oath. And I know you're not aware with it, but I'm trying to explain it to you so I won't be left in the air saying that I go over you all's head. I am seeking legal advice. I am going to get legal guidance. Because I brought this line several times, and this is the first time I came before the City Commissioner Board. Because enough is enough. And if I'm sworn as a county employee to uphold the law and do right, I think a police officer off the door supposed to be upheld more. They are supposed to serve and protect. And they have not done that with me.
All right, Ms. Daniel. Kenny, can I get you to address this after our meeting with Ms. Daniel and with our police officers?
Yes, ma'am, I'll be glad to. This is the first I've heard of it. Ms. Daniels has not come to me with a complaint, and I have no information as to what she's talking about, but I'll be glad to follow up with her and get with Chief Strickland and get to the bottom of it.
All right.
You did make a comment on that?
Yes.
I don't know, City Manager Kenny Smith, but I call your secretary. Is that you? I can't see too good. Is that you? Yes, Miss Alicia. I called her secretary and asked to meet with Kenny Smith. This was Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. When I wasn't getting no cooperation with the regular officer there, Dix. She was the one that when I was explaining the situation to her, she told me down that she was taking notes and she was emailing Kenny Smith, Chief Strickland, and whoever else needs to have that information. So it's not my responsibility that he gets all the messages. I couldn't get in contact with him, but she emailed her. The narcotic man called me 5 hours later. So, I can't have the T&L knowledge. That's not knowledge. I'm quite sure the secretary gave her information because I came up here when I got ready to pay my light bill and personally went and thanked it. Miss Harris. I don't know her last name, but I told her this woman said I went to do her job. So, by her not having the knowledge, I cannot say he did or didn't.
Right, but I appreciate what you're saying, and I don't know the facts of the matter, but we can get it resolved right after the meeting. If you will meet with Kenny and Chief Strickland and Mr. Dix, they are all here.
Well, I prefer for somebody else to do that too, because, like I said, it actually went above this.
Right, Commissioner Bay, are you her?
Yes, I am.
Would you meet with them as well?
Sure.
Okay, very good. Would that be satisfactory?
And can I have some contact number for you all to let you all know? Do Mr. She here have to bring it back to y'all?
No, I don't think he has to bring it back to us. The city manager will bring it back to us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for y'all time, and I appreciate it. But I've been a resident of Griffin Spalding County for 57 years. Married my husband. And I have family going deep back long.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Daniel.
Thank you.
Mr. Dix, do you want to add something to this, please?
Lieutenant Darrell Dixon, Griffin Police Department, Officer of the Chief, Internal Affairs. Mr. B.I. came to my office from visiting Ms. Daniel, I believe it was Monday morning, and about the initial complaint. Together, we viewed a large portion of the video from the initial complaint that started Ms. Daniel's allegations. During the course of watching that video, there was nothing that the officers did wrong. They acted absolutely as they were supposed to act. They received a complaint of Mr. Daniel's behavior. Once they made contact with him, they moved him in front of the vehicle where the entire incident is recorded on audio and video. As well, each contact that I've had with Ms. Daniel over the course of the previous week, they have all been audio recorded. I can make each one of those meetings available to each of you if you would wish to hear them. Ms. Daniel's son, Demetrius Daniel, who was the person that she brought up there, her son. When I spoke to him in his one-on-one interview without his mother and father present, he told me that he did not wish this to go any further. The officers had not done anything wrong, that he was being pressured by his mother and father to come see us, to come talk to us, and that he wanted the whole matter dropped. He wanted to speak to the two officers in person, and I told him that I could arrange that. I received phone numbers from him where I could contact him. Since we work shift work, these officers are working night shift. They have not been back to work since I've talked to him. Monday morning after speaking with Ms. Daniel on the phone, she brought Demetrius back up to the police department where I met with him one-on-one again without her being there. Again, this conversation with him was recorded. He told me that the only reason that he was woke up out of bed to come to the police department was to file a complaint on these officers, and that they had done nothing wrong, that he didn't want to have anything to do with it, but his mother would not listen to him. So I went and got Major Daniels, brought him into my office, sat down with Miss Daniel, and also with Major Daniel, and also Demetrius. And I asked Miss Daniel, I said, Miss Daniel, Demetrius is afraid to talk in front of you. He would like the freedom to talk in front of you freely without you being mad at him. And she agreed. Demetrius looked at her and said, I don't want to do this, Mama. These officers didn't do anything wrong. I don't want to go any further with this complaint. I just want to meet with these officers, and that's it. To which Miss Daniel responded, we ain't dropping nothing. If you drop this, I'm putting you in rehab. Demetrius threw his hands up in the air, turned around and looked at me and said, I'm leaving, and walked out of the door. The allegations she made about Officer Sutton and Officer Webb, I looked into those allegations. I checked the records of the 911 center on a call that happened on July 11th this year, where Officer Sutton responded to a call of a domestic dispute involving a vehicle at 1742 Carrington Drive. Officer Sutton was dispatched to that call. He returned later on that afternoon. Ms. Daniel said that he returned for no reason. I again called the 911 center. The 911 center said that Officer Sutton had been dispatched to that call again. When I informed Ms. Daniel this information, she looked at me and said, that's what you say. And I said, no, ma'am, that's what the Spalding County 911 center says, and that's what it comes up. Basically what it is at this point is Mr. Daniel, Demetrius Daniel, does not wish to file a complaint on these police officers. He wants to have no part in it. He doesn't want to speak about it anymore. He made that very clear. The incident that occurred Saturday night where Mr. Daniels was involved in a fight on D.F. Fuller Drive, he was involved in a fight. When the officers initially arrived, he had some damage on his head, to his ears, to his nose, and to his mouth. The officers spoke with him, and what the officers told me, the initial officers that responded, was when they first pulled up, there was over 100 people there. When they pulled up, the crowd scattered. They found Mr. Daniel on the ground. They asked him what had happened to him. He said he had been jumped on. When they attempted to interview witnesses that were standing around the area, none of the witnesses saw anything. None of the witnesses wanted to speak to them. Mr. Daniel was extremely belligerent. He refused medical help several different times, even after being coaxed to the rear of the ambulance. He still refused medical treatment. And his statement was, we'll take care of this ourselves. We'll handle this ourselves. I spoke to Lieutenant Mike Richardson, who is handling the investigation into the assault on Mr. Daniel. That is the same information he explained to me. He also explained the same information to Ms. Daniel standing in the foyer. That conversation was also recorded if you'd like to hear it. I do the best job that I can. I listen to the complaints that people bring to me, and I do everything that I can to resolve those complaints. Ms. Daniel's questions were answered. The fact is she does not like the answers that she was given. If there is cause to have somebody else come in and view this investigation and make sure that I handled it appropriately, I would welcome that to come in and look for somebody from outside agency, if need be, to come in and look at it. I would have no problem with that at all. I would be completely cooperative with that. But I stand by my reputation. I stand by the job that I did as a 26-year employee of the City of Griffin Police Department. And I'll stand until the day I retire from here. And if they have any further questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. I'll be more than happy to answer questions that you have. And
Lieutenant Dix, I don't think that this is not for us. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
We were listening to citizen comments. I appreciate you enlightening the board on this particular issue, but this is something that City Manager Smith is going to have to address. So again, I appreciate you coming forward. But for the record, go ahead and state your name and your address.
It's Lieutenant Darrell Dix. I live at 614 Grandview Drive, Griffin, Georgia. I'm an employee of the City of Griffin Police Department at 868 West Poplar Street.
Thank you.
Thank you very
so much. Yes. All right. Having said that, is there anyone else on my right who would like to come forward and make a comment? Okay, then we'll go into our public hearings. Public hearings are conducted to allow public comment on specific advertised issues such as rezoning. I'm going to have to look at this. Issues such as rezoning ordinances, policy development, operating budgets, and other legislative actions to be considered by the City Commission. At this time, we will receive comments regarding a resolution to adopt the 2013 tax millage rate proposed at 8.611. Chief Financial Officer Marcus Schwab is here to address if we have any questions. This is a public hearing, and this is the time now for public input. Are there any comments from the city, from the commissioners?
Well, I'd like to congratulate Kenny Smith and his staff for this. Actually, it's a slight tax decrease, but in essence, it's level to being very frugal and careful with the money. And I think in light of today's financial difficulties, this is an achievement. I think our staff deserves a round of appreciation.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's right. We appreciate you. How's that? Is that a good word? Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll go into our consent agenda. We'll consider approval of minutes of the workshop on September the 24th, 2013, and minutes of the regular scheduled meeting on September the 24th, 2013.
Madam Chair,
I wasn't here for the workshop.
yeah, we need to take these separately.
All righty. Then do I have a motion?
So I move that we approve the minutes of the workshop September 24th.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the workshop. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it's 7-1. 701 abstention.
601.
Yes. All right. Now we'll entertain a motion to consider it to approve the minutes of the regular scheduled meeting on September the 24th, 2013.
If there are no additions or corrections, I move they stand as presented.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please raise your right hands. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. All right, we now will go into our regular agenda. Number 5, consider for approval a resolution adopting the 2013 property tax millage rate of 8.611.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the 2013 property tax millage rate. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Thank you. Item number 6, consider for approval to amend the City of Griffin's Airport Fiscal Year 2014 operating and capital budget in the amount of $143,219 for Airport Improvement Program number 29, AIP-29 Grant Revenue and Expense.
Chair, I move we approve the amendment.
All right, we have a motion to approve the amendment. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. Item number 7, consider for approval the purchase of one 2013 Hino or Hino cab and chassis with a New Way Cobra refuse body from Rush Truck Center. The most responsive bidder for a total purchase price of $130,893 for use in the residential division of the Solid Waste Department.
Make a motion we approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. Number 8, consider awarding bid and approve contract for yard waste, bulk waste collection services to Dependable Waste Services Incorporated and adjust billing rates from a current $7.35 per month per household to $6.15 per month per household. Dependable Waste Services Incorporated is the lowest and most responsive bidder for the collection, transport, and disposal of all yard waste and bulk waste for the City of Griffin. We do need you to come and enlighten us, Phil. Thank you. Phil Francis is our Director of Central Services.
I left my glasses on my desk, so if I look like this, it's not because of...
I've got some reading glasses.
I may have to get that one's over there, because he and I wear the same ones, if I have to. If you remember several weeks ago, several meetings ago, we brought to you the quandary, I guess, for lack of better words, that the city has been in regards to getting yard waste picked up in a timely fashion and given the citizens the value that they pay for. We lost 6 people out of our yard waste collection because we were using inmate labor. And with the way the state has cut back, I've met several times with William Wilson and with Jimmy Sykes as well, and it's been a major problem to keep us staffed with the bodies that we need to provide the services to the citizens. So currently, we were down to 1 inmate, and we've lost him. So we have 0 inmates right now that's on yard waste. We are currently backfilling with supervisors driving jobs. I've got some of my staff here to attest to that as well. Richard Arnold's our yard waste supervisor. He hasn't been able to really supervise in several weeks because he's been on a truck. And not to elaborate a whole lot on it, but the decision was made with Kenny and myself both. We sat down and talked at length about what we could do and what options that we did have, because I'm writing credits to people that call in, which they are deserving of these credits. They didn't receive the service. I have no choice. I mean, that's the right thing to do. But the thing about it is we're sitting here with yard waste just piled up all over the streets and no way to physically get it up. It was just an impossibility. It just wasn't there. So with several discussions and several meetings that Kenny and I had, we started talking about perhaps the option of outsourcing. And there are times that, that you just have to look at things like that. So he asked me to get together some numbers, and in one of your attachments to your packet, you'll see a pro forma that I put together basically on what we're currently spending, what the citizens are paying, what we're looking at for the next several years as far as capital that we have to bring in. And we cannot continue at this pace to continue to increase the fees to the residents and not be able to provide the service that we say in our code that we're going to provide. So, and it's not admitting defeatism in any shape, form, or fashion. I mean, I stand behind what we do 100% and will challenge anyone to it, but that's not the issue. The issue is basically providing what the people pay for to give them what, you don't want to go to the gas station and put in 5 gallons of gas and only find out you get 2 gallons, So with that analogy, we put some things together, and I brought it in the workshop. I think it was several meetings ago, and with your guidance, put out a request for proposal. We had a couple of vendors that came back. We wrote a good RFP, I think, as far as the service that follows our code, and we put it out to bid. And when it came back to bid, Dependable Waste Services was the lowest and most responsive. We do have ancillary costs that are added into that. That's why that we're currently going to always have. But at the end of the day, the monthly rate to the residents will decrease from $7.35 a month to $6.15 a month. And one of the contingencies that we put together in regards to making sure that we're where we're going to be when we say we're going to be. The city of Griffin still is the provider. The citizens do not call Dependable Waste. We are going to retain people, our liaison between the city and Dependable will be Richard Arnold, our current yard waste supervisor. So if a citizen was to have a question or a problem, they still call the solid waste division.
And what will we have twice a month or once a month?
Twice a month. Twice a month.
And when will it start? After adoption?
After adoption, yeah.
After adoption.
And what we have been working on...
November the 1st is the go-live date to switch it over.
That's what we were looking at, is November the 1st. We've got...
That's a really good date.
We've got leaf season coming up. We've got a lot of things coming together. So, and the things that we've been discussing... after we issued the notice of intent to award, it basically tells Dependable Waste that, yeah, this is who we want. We want you. You guys did what you're supposed to do. So we've been in conversation trying to keep the transition as smooth as possible. And one of the things that we really want to address, and I think we pretty well got it, they have a really good routing software, a really good routing program, to where what we want to do is say if your garbage service is on a Monday, you will have your yard waste picked up every other Monday. So instead of taking it out and hoping the truck gets around to you, you'll know that if you're vis-a-vis if you're on Tuesday, every other Tuesday you'll be picked up. So that way you can plan if you have a yard service a lot of times, or if you're going to plan, it's a better planning tool, it's a better scheduling tool. It saves the city overall about $60,000 basically on the actual yard waste budget itself as far as the costs that we're incurring. But the 5-year capital that we're going to have to, at least for the next 5 years, we're looking at about a $600,000 capital exposure that we're going to have to expose the city to, because we're going to have to buy some equipment. It just doesn't pick itself up, and we would have to do that. Staffing is not there. It was the right choice.
Right, and our employees were protected?
Yes. It's in the RFP. It's also in the contract.
Right.
If you'll see the copy of the contract, that they will be offered a position with the providing they meet the hiring requirements. If they're not absorbed with any openings that we have within the city, they'll be offered everything there. No one will lose a job, in that way.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Any questions from the commissioners?
No, good job.
If we, there's also been this debate about on-demand where folks that
that's something that we
can... Is that something that we can still look at as a possibility as we move through this?
What I would like to do is let's kind of get some continuity and try to get us a little more grounded with this right now. And I realize that it's a lot of folks say, I only use it 3 times a year, I only use it once a year, like that kind of stuff. But we've got to be able to at least know that we can get around the city and we can do what we say we're going to do.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have not been able to do that with the yard waste. It's been a real stickler. I hear it a lot, but right. Still,
and it's the one area that we're currently losing money compared to the other.
We're not truly losing a lot. We just don't have the staffing there,
right.
to pay. But we're not. The money's not really so much.
If we were to add, we need to staff it.
Right.
There would not
with our own people, yes, without a doubt.
All right. Any questions? Any other questions of Phil? All right, I will entertain.
In your executive summary, we did cover the alternatives, one of those being on-demand service. And of course, we've talked about on-demand service for several years now. Just don't realize that that's a feasible answer based on several different conditions of people putting it in vacant lots, putting it in between lots, community piles, and if we're going to pick it up, on-demand service for yard trimmings I don't know that that's an option.
Right.
Madam Chair, I move we approve this.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is unanimous, Alicia. And
Great.
thank you, Phil. I think y'all have done a great job in researching this. I hope that they won't delete this from our pads. I did read some of it last week. I just got my reading glasses.
Oh, it's in the history. I think
you
can bring it. I always have hard copies of everything. I'm old school. Okay, so
right, I know. I understand.
That.
Well, what I do is I print it out normally anyway.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
all right. Well, this will be for you to sign, I guess, and everybody to do whatever they got to do tomorrow, and we'll get it done.
Right, absolutely. The reason November 1st is such a good date, that's my birthday.
Well, good.
That's really good. All right, that's neither here nor there. Item number 9, Consider approval of a professional services agreement with Arcadis U.S. Incorporated as the engineer of record for the City of Griffin Category 1 Dam for the Public Works and Utilities Department. Dr. Keller will address.
I move we approve.
Second.
I will be abstaining. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it's 6-0-1. Thank you. Item number 10, consider awarding a bid to Creative Sign Designs for the new gateway signs in the amount of $77,400.
Madam Chair, I move we approve.
And reserve comment. All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I'm not sure I like the Welcome to Griffin sign that was in our downloads. It really does look busy, and the iris, if that's an iris, looks more like a rosebud at the top of it. You haven't seen them?
Those that we approved through our branding initiative.
I know, that's what you approved, but...
Yes, ma'am, is what you approved.
Yeah, but
Not what I
picture you gave us, the picture that's there on that intersection, it just adds clutter to that intersection. Personal opinion.
Yes,
I don't think
Talking
that...
about the one below the line?
Yeah. Didn't you think it looked a little cluttered?
Yeah. I mean, I know that, I knew what it was going to look like as far as that sign out there, but when it was placed below the picture with the power lines and everything, it did look a little
Looks horrible.
stuck out there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Joanne.
It just did not look like a... It looked like something from outer space maybe, but it didn't, I don't think it enhanced the Welcome to Griffin, not that particular sign. However, you said that we approved it.
We sure did.
We approved the people. I don't remember seeing them. Did we approve that sign?
We sure did.
That's the first time I've seen those signs.
I'm trying to read it.
I'd like to know when we did.
I had about 80 folks to help us.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I know, y'all did all that.
I just think with the parallel.
Well, keep in mind the photograph that we sent is just a mock-up of it sitting in a position. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be where that mock-up is.
All right, so y'all took a picture of that and in your mind and sent it to us?
Well, the branding consultants actually took a picture and then just did a superimposition on a picture just to give you an idea what it would look like. It's going to look different in each of the 4 locations that you put it based on the terrain of the
I'm
location.
sorry, I liked it when we voted on before, and I still like it.
Well, I'm glad that you do. I don't like it, so there. We may have both voted. It may have been a unanimous vote. It'd be interesting to see. We will definitely get comments from the community once you put it up.
Is there a map that shows where that total cost?
Terrible.
The $80,000 we're approving here, $77,400 we're approving. Is there a showing where each of these will be located?
Yes, so we have a map that shows every one of the branding signs from the street signs all the way up to the city limit signs. It's
how many? What are we buying this 70?
Not something you could look at on your tablet, but we have a map that shows
That's
that.
the only place I saw it was on the tablet.
These 4 particular signs under your description there tells you where these 4 will be.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a gateway to town on.
So how many signs is this for $77,400 buying?
4 big ones.
Signs.
4 gateway signs.
Okay, so those 2
They're coming up for you to see.
Georgia
Large
16.
gateway signs coming into the city on 16, 1941s.
I hope everybody's sober that's coming in and knows that it's not to the side.
They'll know where they're going to jail.
Whoa, can you put it up there for our audience to see? I've got it up on my computer. It doesn't matter, we've already voted to approve it.
I don't think there's a link.
Okay, all righty.
They look great.
I don't think there's a link.
That's on Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
All righty, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the proposed signs, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise your right hand.
You'll put your hand up.
I put my hand up, 6 with 1 opposition. Okay, then let's go back to our agenda now. This is where this gets tricky. Okay, get back to Novus. All righty, we're down to city commission comments. City manager comments.
Thursday, October the 24th is a GMA district meeting in Sonoya at 6:30. And because they do have a meal there or refreshments, they want to know how many plan to attend that. So if you can let me know as soon as possible, because they've asked for RSVPs within the next couple of days.
What date is that?
Ma'am?
What date is that?
It is Thursday, October 24th.
I won't be able. Sorry.
I'm not sure. I'll have to check my. I got my calendar.
October
24th on Thursday.
I'll let you know.
I'll
Yeah.
be there.
Okay.
I don't see why they got reserved for pork and beans and...
I hope we don't disrupt them. I made enough noise about that last time.
And, we have a comp plan public hearing next Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Welcome Center. That should be our final public hearing on the comprehensive plan. We'll put that on your calendar, and that's all my comments.
I've seen it in the newspaper, so that's good. All right, is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Drew?
Just one thing, each of you should have at your desk tonight a memorandum from me. Last Tuesday, the state of Florida filed a lawsuit against the state of Georgia, the United States Supreme Court under its original jurisdiction. This is a very rare occurrence, but it could impact the city of Griffin, and that it affects the Apalachicola, Chattahoochee, Flint river basins, and the amount of water that comes down and passes through into Florida and Alabama. So we just wanted to give you a heads up on it, make you aware of the lawsuit being filed. I don't think we need to take any specific action at this time, but when you have your hometown connection meeting on the 29th, I believe it is, there may be some issues there related to this. You want to talk to your local delegation and also Judd Turner, who I think is going to be here with us that night.
Right, we're also going to have, aren't we going to, when we have the hometown, because that's what you were talking about, we need to, make sure all of us understand that when it's going to be, and some of the things we're going to talk about at our hometown connection. Shahir, any comments?
What's my last name? No. Say my last name.
Hey, I just got my eyes back now. I can't challenge do two things at one time.
But I would like to say, at one point, Commissioner Ward brought up about us doing something on customer, on perhaps a Friday or something, doing customer service, like have some coffee, some donuts out.
That must have been her.
No, it was you. I remember that.
October 31st will be passed.
I think we'll look into that and maybe possibly do that. Now, that was you. Yes, you.
Well, it sounds like a good idea to me. And then, I'd rather she bake a cake than have
I'll be glad to
donuts.
but I don't think that's my suggestion.
All right. Anything else, Shahir?
That's it.
Okay, Dick?
We are on for the 29th, and we have people coming. Good. I just spent 2 days in meetings at LPC, and be advised there are a lot of contentious issues affecting the cities coming up before the legislature again. So we're going to need everybody's help when the time comes to try to correct some of this coming through the legislature. So I hope our hometown connection's a good start.
Doug? No comments? Ryan?
No comment. I know we all want to get to the fair.
No comment.
Yeah, we got to get
Right
to the
after
fair.
I got scouts. I got fair.
No comment, and I have no comment either. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second. You can do that by standing.